let me be direct with you. Mandarin is a hard language. No question about it. It is very challenging. However, really every language is hard, essentially, right? It's like any skill. When you go learn a new skill, there's a learning curve to it, and you have to go through that learning curve, which then makes it challenging. And Mandarin is no different. I think that a lot of people think that Mandarin is a hard language because a couple reasons. Number one, you don't meet as many people in English-speaking countries that speak Mandarin than you do maybe Spanish or French or Portuguese or other languages like that. I think number two, Mandarin sounds very foreign to English, meaning it's so different. But something like Spanish or French, you might see a couple of similarities here and there to your own native language. So you go, oh, okay, yeah, it's really hard, yeah, it's very different, blah, 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 but at least there's a couple things that are similar. I think also in Mandarin, for anyone who has an inkling about the language, they think that the tones is very hard. They think that, oh, because Mandarin has tones, English doesn't, oh my god, that sounds way too complex. And the funny thing is that all these different elements lead to people thinking that Mandarin is so hard. And like I said before, it is hard, but what people don't realize is there's actually a lot of elements of Mandarin that are relatively simple. For example, in English, we have to, I talked about this on a couple episodes ago, so some of you might be hearing this a second time, but I want to come back to it. Mandarin, you don't conjugate verbs. In English we say yesterday I walked, but tomorrow I will walk, or I'm going to walk. Today I walk. In Mandarin, you don't really change the verb. It doesn't really change. The verb is the verb. And so that element of grammar is actually a heck of a lot simpler. Also, in Mandarin, the way they form their words has way more logic than English or French or Spanish or you know, any Romance language. Like, it's way more logical. So for instance, if I want to say things like, I recently learned how to say a frisbee, you know, a thing that you throw and flies in the air. It's something, I think it was, I'm 90% sure it was fei pan, which essentially translates to a flying plate, which a frisbee is kind of like a flying plate. Or if you take a thing like a cell phone, you would say 手机. Why 手机? Because 手 essentially means hand. 机 is kind of like a machine. And so you have a hand machine, right? There's a logic to essentially every word. Now, granted, the logic sometimes is a little bit muddled, meaning you go, oh, that's not how I would think of it, but there's a logic to it. And so once you've studied enough characters, once you know enough words, when you hear new words that you learn, often you can say, oh, that makes sense. So when I recently learned flying plate, aka a frisbee, I was like, oh, that makes sense, okay. And you can immediately just remember it because it's very logical. So there's elements like that people don't talk about when it comes to Mandarin. And yes, I agree, there's things that are hard about it, and there's a lot of work that needs to go in, but I want to sort of put out a PSA, a public service announcement, to go, you know, guys, we need to stop putting Mandarin on a pedestal of like, oh, that is unattainable, because that stigma, in my perspective, in my experience, it's just not true, guys. Just not true. Anyway, that's the daily rant. Now we're going to go and jump into our different language content, so French and Spanish. So we'll start with the Spanish, then we'll get into French. Stay tuned, guys. Coming right up.